Hi everybody, going to go for video number 2 in the series of 2 videos. The first request that came in after the initial one for importing files was to have a look at the kind of local edits using the brush. So here we go. As promised, I'm going to edit this file, which is an old photograph that I've taken a number of years ago of the big house at Mullockmore, infamous in its history, as I'm sure a lot of you will know. But nevertheless, it's a striking image and one that hopefully I can shine a new light on here. So here we go. Going to just step into the develop tab. I've already imported the image using the steps detailed in last week's video. So the first thing I'm going to do before I do anything else is I'm going to crop the image. I want ideally for the house to be in the middle. So yeah, just going to use the crop tool, position it where I want. And then click done. So I'm ready to progress. Some of the other things I do out of the box before doing any edits is to kind of set these, which straightens up the image based on the lens that you used, which was an old 18 to 55 kit lens on my crop sensor D5300, I think. So entry level camera, nothing too fancy. And then we're going to get into some edits here, kind of basic ones that I would do before I do anything else. So the first thing I'm going to do, set the white balance. I think I checked this up earlier and I was happy with daylight. I think cloudy was a little kind of orangey. I'm not sure actually. Yeah, I think the grass looks better with the daylight one. Next thing I do is I'm going to set some exposure and kind of drop it a little bit, just to leave me room to pull out the house at the end with the adjustment brush. Kind of slide the contrast a little, just trying to bring a bit of definition into the sky. Then kind of setting the whites, so it's just at the point where the whites are getting blown out, which is just here, is generally the sweet spot for that. I'm doing that by holding down the Alt key while I move the slider, and just as the color starts to come in, that's, according to other tutorial videos, that's the best place for it. So it's not getting too bright. Likewise with the blacks, you just want to be just where they're starting to come in. Again, I'm using the Alt key there while moving the slider, so you're still getting some detail down on the kind of cliff face there, just above the water. So it's not being completely lost. Next thing I'm going to move on to bringing in a graduated filter. I think for here I don't want the viewer's eyes to be drawn to the sea, and there's quite a bit of kind of disturbance and stuff going on there. A technique for that I've learned is to apply a graduated filter and dropping the clarity on it. So if I take the clarity all the way down, it kind of just flattens the noise in the sea down a bit, makes it a bit less distracting. And then I'm going to kind of draw the exposure down slightly as well, just to kind of, again, to drive the viewer's eyes up towards the castle. So kind of happy with that. Maybe bring a slight bit of green tint to it as well, maybe. But not much. I don't want to start making the sea look a little off. So done with that. And again, I'm going to apply a graduated filter this time, coming down from the top, in the hope that I'm going to bring a bit of detail out of the sky, kind of liven up these clouds a little. There's quite a bit up there, but could be a little better. So to do that, I'm going to drop the exposure a little, start bringing out the kind of definition in the clouds a little bit, and the highlights are kind of not too bad. I think kind of it's taking its own default position, which was pretty good, and generally give the sky a little bit of color to kind of accentuate the blue a little, but not so much that the clouds look altered. So yeah, it's pretty good at that. And again, happy enough, leave it at that. But what we have here now is that Sky's fine, foreground's okay, not too noisy, and users kind of drawn towards the house, but you can't really see the house, it's nearly a silhouette due to the other amendments that were in there. So this is the point at which I would say, right, well, how can I edit the house and the house alone without everything else around it being adjusted? And what I do here is where I use the little adjustment brush. So I've clicked the zoom in, which has brought the house up. I then select up here, which is the adjustment brush, and that brings me up this panel on the right hand side with the kind of local amendments. What I do here is I always just take the exposure all the way down and select the size of brush. Now I'm changing the size of brush here by rolling the wheel in the middle of my mouse. I think you can do it by with a control plus, control minus as well, possibly. No, I'm not sure. But yeah, so you select the size of the brush that you want, and then you start painting around the building. So you want to bring a bit of extra definition too. So this will be just a rough process because you want to be a bit more meticulous than this. When you're doing it yourself, you'll take a little bit more time, be a little bit more precise. So I'm kind of just going around the outline of the building, picking out the areas that I want to make a little more attractive. So I'm kind of going along the wall here to the front. No, don't really want to colour the bushes, but I do want to colour the outbuildings and the main building itself. So this looks a bit drastic with everything being black, but I'll shine a light on it in a minute, pardon the pun. So here we go, a big spray can. Bart was here. So I've kind of coloured the house. I'm happy enough that I've kind of drawn attention to what I want to see. And then all I do here is I can then change the exposure. So I can start to slide it all the way up, and I'll see that the brush has kind of missed bits. So you can make the brush a little bigger and smooth out the bits you missed on your initial pass. Be as meticulous as you want about this to get your end effect, but I'm going to be quite quick now just to get this wrapped up. So yeah, made my amendments, adjusted the exposure, and then I can bring it back down to where I think it's just giving me enough light that the house looks natural, but is accentuated from what it was. You could even give it a little tint as well, like kind of like the sun's catching it or whatever. And don't be too mad with that because it'll look unnatural as well. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. It's not how I would normally do it, but gives you an idea of how to use the adjustment brush. I'm going to zoom out. I think it would do fit. So here we have it. Now the house is kind of brightened up. Everything else has been exposed individually using graduated filters, and had brought a bit of clarity into the bottom to remove the noise, and a little exposure into the clouds to give it a bit of detail. And if I compare side to side, I think it looks, for a quick edit, looks a good bit better. Okay, that's great. Thank you.